Cafe Networking Podcast promotes successful business experts. I'm Tom Rioch, known as the King of Networking, connecting people throughout the world from my podcast studio in Brazil. Joining us today from Memphis, Tennessee, Lauren Vestal. She's a coach at Symmetry, helping high-achieving people relieve stress and find more time and energy. So Lauren, what is the science of breath plus stress?
Yes, a great question. And thanks for having me, Tom. I'm excited to be here. We really use the breath as a tool to help people understand how what their body is telling them can translate to a signal of stress, or if they're obviously calm, how to recognize that as well. But what a lot of people don't understand is that there is actually a proper way to breathe and an improper way to breathe. So a lot of people, especially if they're stressed or sitting at a desk all day, have tightness in the neck and shoulders. And what we find is that their mouth breathing will bring breath more into the upper chest, and that keeps us more in that stress state. But so we try to teach people to bring the breath lower using the ribs and diaphragm, our main breathing muscle, kind of that belly breath as people have heard of it, and also use the nose. The nose made for breathing, the mouth speaking. And there's a time that we need to use the mouth to breathe, but okay, sounds good. So stress and the breath. We really teach people to recognize what's happening in the body in terms of signs of stress first. And then we use the breath as a tool to teach them how to calm the nervous system back down. So the first thing we try to tell people is breathe out through the nose on a daily basis. If you're breathing under the chin, and oftentimes we notice that people are breathing in and out through the mouth when they're doing that. It attacks our secondary respiratory muscles like neck and shoulders. So if people are, kind of hunched over a desk or a keyboard all day, that puts a lot of tension on those muscles. And the second thing is breathing lower using the diaphragm, which is our main breathing muscle, and breathing slower. Because if you think about if you're breathing really fast, even just unconsciously, you notice that you're in a more stressed state.
Well, what you're saying is, most people, myself included, we don't think about breathing.
Right.
It's something. You're saying it's a tool, and we're the toolbox, but we don't really think about it.
Right. Yeah. And it is the only function in the body that is automatic. We don't have to think about it. We do it all the time unconsciously, but it is also under our control. And there's different parts of the brain. They've done studies that lights up whether you are breathing unconsciously, not paying attention to the breath, and then a different portion of the brain lights up when you're actually focusing on breathing consciously.
And so, well, again, I imagine, I guess, that the more stress situation we're in, the more that affects our breathing.
Sure. Yeah, especially if you're not used to working on keeping the breath calm when you're entering into, whether it's a presentation or a stressful board meeting, interview or review, for work, things like that. If you're not used to practicing these things on a daily basis, it's harder to get the breath under control to help keep the body calm, keep the mind calm when you get to these situations.
So what you do, so you offer your services to people, do you offer to companies, to groups? How do you work?
Yeah, so we do offer workplace wellness programs for companies, and that can be anywhere from a one-time service where we're talking about, or one-time session where we're talking about breath and stress primarily, depending on the needs of the company, or we can do a more robust program that's anywhere from 6 months to a year. And we focus on everything from breath, mindset, nutrition, rest, relationships, and movement. Because even if we get the breath working properly, if all you're eating fast food and drinking nothing but alcohol and coffee all day, we've still got to disconnect. So looking at it from a holistic standpoint, what we've seen is that there's a lot of productivity issues with people who are not healthy, focus on their wellness. So even in a corporate structure, this is really important. And then the other thing we do is group coaching, and that's all virtual. We can do corporate or our group coaching virtually or in person, but the group is virtual. You can join from anywhere, and it's a really special program. And we've learned that there's actually studies that people learn 5 times faster in a group setting. So there's a secret.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
What aids that? What makes that happen?
I think, well, from our perspective and what we've seen thus far too, is people, there's the idea of this country, right? You're not in it alone. A lot of people deal with stress, and when we talk to people one-on-one before they're in their group, they're like, oh my God, am I the only one who's dealing with things like this?
Mm-hmm.
And they're not. It's the same, like we hear the same things over and over. So the community is a huge part of it, learning from each other and learning, oh, this works for me. What are you trying? And just the support of the group is huge.
All right. So what you're saying is actually part of the group actually reduces anxiety. Does it increase it?
The group definitely decreases anxiety for sure.
Very good. So how can our listeners find you, Lauren?
Sure. So our website is symmetry.live, and you can also email me at Lauren, LAUREN, at symmetry.live.
Very good. And I can see they can also find you on LinkedIn.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Lauren Vestal.
Very good. So again, that's Lauren Vestal, LAUREN, the last name VESTAL. Find her on LinkedIn and symmetry.live. And that's SYMMETRY.live. Cafe Network is brought to us by Focus MI Market Intelligence, an agricultural market research specialist in Brazil. More information at focusmi.com. Talk to Tom, talk to the world. Thanks for listening. Until the next time here at Cafe and Networking Podcast.